What's the most dangerous weapon in New York today? The obvious answer is a gun, but you might be surprised at what's in second place. At least 240 shootings and 24 murders last year began with this. Insults and challenges start out in social media and too often end up as a deadly argument in the street. The good news is the very people who are most affected are taking action on their own to stop the violence. And that now includes making the virtual world safer. Since last year, a program called E-Responders, supported by New York's Citizens Crime Commission, has so far trained 26 anti-violence workers to identify and de-escalate potentially dangerous online conflicts. We're proud to have two of them with us today. Mike Perry and Samuel Jackson work as violence interrupters, and the tools they use now involve social media. Hey guys, thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Mike, let's start with you. Violence has been around on the streets of New York for a long time. So what is it about social media that makes it worse?
For me, social media was, and the internet coming into play was a tool to be able to advance in a lot of good ways, you know. But we've been using it for a lot of the wrong things.
Well, let's go into that. When you were growing up, social media wasn't as popular, as big as it is now.
No, yeah.
And still violence was going on. So what's the difference between now and...
I mean, I think the violence is the same. I don't think that changed. It may have gotten a little more reckless now. The morals and integrity have kind of been phased out. But I mean, you know, we're in an age where a person would rather record an incident rather than go help, you know, and I think that's not the greatest thing, you know, for us.
Is the violence itself changed because of social media, do you think? From when you were growing
Great
up?
question, great question. I think, yeah, because people are performing for the show now. Now it's a show, right? It's a show now. Now it can be broadcasted, so people are doing things that, because they know there's an audience for it, right? And that's a terrible thing, but you're right, that's a great question. It has changed in a sense where people are performing to put on a show now.
So people are broadcasting. We're saying, how does it work for you? I mean, when you were a kid growing up in the streets, violence was all around. You survived it.
Yes.
Social media wasn't around then. How did you survive it without social media?
It was it was restricted to neighborhoods. It wasn't how it was now. Like it's everywhere. I mean, not to say that violence isn't everywhere, because it is. But back when I was growing up, it was restricted to certain neighborhoods. Like and it wasn't broadcast. It was a code of silence. So if it did happen, people kept their mouth closed.
So let's go into that. What do you mean broadcast? When you broadcast something, are you broadcasting a threat? I mean, just the
violence and period. It wasn't broadcast. If somebody was to say, get killed, it'll be out there, but it'll be limited to a certain amount of people that would know about it. Everybody wouldn't know about it. It would be like restricted to more or less a drug crew, because back then you had different crews. Now you got more gangs. You see, back then, a lot of the drug gangs was controlling the violent scenes. Now you got the gangs. I mean, not to say that the gangs wasn't involved, but it was so more or less coming from the drug trade.
Do you know folks who've been killed as a result specifically of
Absolutely, I have friends. I lost close friends in the streets, countless friends. I can't even count on my fingers how many people I lost.
Tell me about them.
Brutal. I mean, same thing like the brother. I think we come from we share a common thread in a common culture that we both come from, a common things that we both come from. So I've lost countless family members to gun violence, being in the street, close friends, family members. Like the brother said, I don't have enough fingers to count. You know what I'm saying?
But you guys survived. How did you do that?
Like I said, by the grace of God.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Divine intervention.
Absolutely.
You know, a lot of prayers from family and friends like that.
So how you've been trained, first as violence interrupters, and then you got training in this new program, E-Responders, to use social media as a way to stop the violence or deter the violence. How does it work? I mean, how do you guys actually do it? Maybe first, Mike, how about you?
Yeah, so, but I got to add on to what the brother just said
Sure.
before he closed. It was a decision we both had to make as well. Divine intervention, definitely helped, but we both had to make a decision about what we wanted to do with our lives, you know what I'm saying? So that's why we were able to survive it. But to answer your question, now that we just spoke about social media and how relevant it is in our everyday lives, everything is there. Every solution is kind of there. Like when you're dealing with your children, you got to monitor their social media, just with their personal lives. Everything that we do is geared towards social media, so we have to monitor that. We've been able to.
How do you interrupt that? How do you tell the difference between a post that's threatening and could result in violence or death and one that's perfectly innocent? How can you tell? Can you sense the difference?
Well, we know the language. We know the language.
Give me some examples.
We're not too far removed from that, right? You know, we see instances of where people will be talking down about someone who was recently hurt, shot, stabbed, beat up. They'll post videos. People will comment, and then again it turns into a show. It becomes a show now. Now the actual act ain't even the issue anymore. Now it's just the fact that everybody's seen it. Now it broadens it. Now we could have kept that under wraps, so a few people would have knew about it. But now it's a show now. So now the person who was hurt, possibly, he wants revenge in a major way because it's been so widely broadcast.
So I mean, the cops are all over social media. They use it themselves. Yes. Why is it better for you guys to be involved than police watching social media?
I won't say it's better for us to be involved, but I would say we have we could get a grip on things a little bit quicker than the police may have access to. I mean, you have to have a trained eye for this stuff. You got to look out for terminologies. You got to look out for slangs. Because when I'm on there I'm looking for all types of violence. I'm not just looking for gang violence. I'm looking for self-inflicted violence, domestic violence. I'm attacking all violence from all angles.
Yes, sir.
This is tough work. I mean, if you're glued to a cell phone or a smartphone,
absolutely,
all day long,
24/7. My phone is in my hand right now. You know, it's off due to the interview, but it's constantly on. When I get out of here, it's going to be on.
So what? You get a buzzer and someone's posting.
No, I get alerts. It's general alerts from the phone. You know, from the apps.
And then what do? I mean, you hear something going on or going down, then
I'm commenting on it to make sure I'm getting to see. I'm getting in people's minds to see where they are. Hey, how you doing? I might send them a direct message. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? Is everything all right? I got to get into their mind and see where they are first. So I want to deal with them first, and then from there.
Does it work?
I mean, to a certain degree, it does.
Absolutely.
Give me some examples of when you've been able to actually stop a deadly act from being performed or violence from being performed.
Well, the first thing is being aware. And like the brother said, being able to, we know the language, right? So we're able to identify certain language, certain things being said. Personally, we've mediated a lot of conflicts on social media. There's been instances where participants, people that we serve, may be involved in an ongoing conflict online. You see the messages. What we do is we reach out to the person that we know, and we try to pull them out of it. That has happened a lot. With us on Staten Island, we've been able to mediate, I would say, 30 to 40 conflicts since we've been trained. Serious conflicts that could have potentially wind up really bad. We've been able to.
So let's pull back a little bit from social media. We know social media aggravates violence, but why are we getting violence to begin with? Why are young men shooting each other in the streets of Brooklyn and Staten Island and Manhattan?
It's just. I will say number one, ignorance. That has a lot to do with it. Lack of self-love.
Yes, sir.
It's a multitude of things that I could put my finger on it. But you just
lack of self-love. Go into that a bit.
People just don't feel like nobody loves them. They feel like they have no choice. They feel like there's nothing out there for them. Some people just feel like they have no way out.
And for many of them, that's true. There's no economic opportunities, no schooling. They're out of school. I mean, so the ultimate solution is beyond lack of resources, social media. So how do you guys get into that, or do you?
You got to look at the trauma. You got to look at trauma. I'm sure me and this brother are still dealing with a lot of trauma that we've been able to, in a sense, master. We're still probably dealing with it now, but we've been able to grab a hold of it. A lot of these young brothers and sisters don't have the tools yet necessary to master their trauma and emotionally be able to grab onto what they've been through, right? And a lot of it has not been dealt with yet. So we're out here emotional, we're sick, we're dealing with all this trauma that we dealt with growing up from our homes, from our family members, from being in the street, seeing certain things, all these traumatic experiences starting in the home, right? We're out on the street now, 16, 17 and up, and now we're acting a fool because we don't have the tools to maneuver and grab a hold of the stuff we've been dealing with.
But you, Mike, are an inspiration in itself. You do music now, you have your own clothing line.
Yes, sir.
You're doing a documentary.
Yes, sir.
How did you get there? How did you overcome the trauma that you obviously went through as a young kid?
Again, by the grace of God, number one. Number two, a decision that I had to make. I seen too many of my friends being killed, too many of my friends going to prison. I'm sure he shares the same exact story, right? I had to make a decision for myself. That's the bottom line, you know. Everything else is a huge factor in why we've been able to make the transition. But he had to make a decision about his life. I had to make a decision, a conscious decision on what I wanted to do moving forward.
Why wouldn't you just get angry?
It wouldn't turn out good.
Why?
Angry can be a good motivator. That's how you use the anger. You got to know how to channel it for a positive and not a negative.
How did you do it? What was your background?
I just got sick and tired. Seeing too many people dying in the streets. Just wanted to get my life together and life in order. Wanted to do something stable, be a good, productive member of society. It's just tired.
I mean, both of you guys have now passed the demographic that everybody says that's the danger demographic. You know,
Yes.
your early 20s, your teens.
Yeah.
How did you? So now you guys are sort of walking models that you've made it through. You're survivors,
Absolutely.
Yes.
in a sense.
Absolutely.
And still surviving every day because it's still
Absolutely.
crazy out there.
Absolutely.
Tell me why.
The guns on the streets. It's guns. It's legal. It's crazy out there. The violence is very real in the streets of New York and all over this country.
So, if we didn't have the guns, would we have less violence, or would we still be turning to other anger, other forms of manifestation?
I won't.
anger?
I can't. I have to beg to differ on that to a certain extent. But guns do heighten the violence level because there's easy access to some people. You know,
And where are those guns coming from? How do we stop them?
illegal trade is bigger than us, but it can start with us.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
we have the right. You know, politicians. We got to get into a whole nother spectrum.
Yeah.
On that perspective, you know.
And where we come in is we don't have those answers, right? All of those answers, right? Where they go. The fact that they're here, we have the connection with our people, and our job is to change their mentality, right? Help them with life skills, social skills. Again, being able to master and grab a hold of the trauma and all the emotional and mental issues that they deal with, right? So that's where we come in at. Love is the way.
You're dealing with young men for the most part, right?
Yes, and women.
And women.
And women. So, how do the women relate to you guys and what you're doing? Does that take a different kind of approach?
To some, yeah, as a mentor, the big brother approach. Some see it as the fatherly figure, you know, because we're older men. So, you know, it depends. But at the end of the day, they're looking at us as role models.
Yes, sir.
That's how they view us.
Yes,
Role models, that's the key, which is what's missing
Yes,
in a lot of these families.
yes. In households and everywhere.
But even so, we were talking before the program, you have a 15-year-old boy,
Yes.
and he's now got a stable family. He's got you as a great model. But he's out in the street, too. He's got all these influences he's got to deal with.
Absolutely. He has an amazing stepmother, and he has his mother. But so he has a family. He has a family structure. You know,
But how
again.
can you survive? I mean, how do you get past that?
Yeah, I mean, so right now is a rough spot for him, me and him. I remember I was 15. I was in the street heavy. He's still playing basketball. I'm still super proud of him and where he's at mentally. But it gets rough with your kid. My son knows of my popularity in the street from doing music, and then the other side that he knows, and he's getting wind of that. And so it's been rough, but he's doing great, and he'll be fine.
How much of the violence do you think is fueled by gangs themselves, by having to belong to a gang and therefore having to maintain your reputation as a gang person?
I think it's bigger than a gang. It's just a mentality that we attack. It's a mentality, because once you're sick mentally and you don't have the big brothers, the role models, the positive role models, then you're more likely to go into that space of being in the gang. But if your mentality is one of, I'm good, I don't need that, I have family, I have good people around me in my life, I don't need to go there, right? And then it's a lot of peer pressure going on with our young brothers and sisters.
So let me ask both of you about why young people use social media right now. What do they gain from it? A lot of it is identity politics, but what do you sense of why the folks that you're working with are into social media right now?
It gives everyone a voice, a platform. Everybody does want some sort of popularity, right? People want to be, you know, if you can be Facebook famous, Instagram famous, Snapchat famous, you can be attain some type of fame and some type of popularity, level of popularity with those sites. So.
But you don't need violence to get that kind of fame, do you?
No, you don't.
No.
Some people resort to that. That's all they know.
So the use of social media as a form of identity is something that you can encourage and teach people how to use in a healthier way. Do you do that as part of what you do?
Absolutely, that's what we do. I mean, we make it we're starting to set a trend of me and this brother being credible, being from our neighborhoods, having a reputation. Look what we're doing with our social media platforms. We're promoting peace. We're making that the cool thing now, right? You know, there's going to be a group of men when it's all said and done who's going to be responsible for making peace the good thing. Peace is what is of value now, because now, back then you had being a gangster and doing the wrong thing was popular, right? There's a shift happening because of me and this brother, True to Life, Bronx Connect, Man Up, GMAC, a lot of our Cure Violence brothers and sister sites. There's a shift happening.
How much of it is getting a different kind of sense of respect or self-respect? Right, a lot of the violence is when somebody disrespects somebody else and they have to react. But to develop on the other side, to gain respect, how do you do that through social media? How do you do it particularly when you get involved in social media?
Is it pertaining to stopping the violence? Just being straight up and being bold and just letting them know the real. Like, listen, I come from where you come from. I know what you've been through. I've been through it. And just, you know, giving the spill, giving the story, letting them know, listen, man, it's not about that.
Yeah. They're normally hearing that, go ahead, go do it, right? They run into me and a brother like this, and we're telling them the total opposite. With the same language, with the same energy, we're just telling them, no, that's not right. I feel the guys and girls we've been working with for the past 2.5, 3 years, they've grown. A lot of our participants got their GED, they're back in school, they're working, high school diplomas, some enrolled in college. So we are changing the mindsets of the ones we come in contact with.
The generations behind us, we gotta set a path. We gotta let them know that what they doing right now, it ain't right.
Yes, sir.
Are they listening?
To a certain extent. You can't save everybody. The ones who listen, listen. So we're working on the ones who don't want to listen as well.
And it's working. It's working. We feel indebted to help our people.
And I think we're indebted to you guys for the work you do. Thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
New York is among the safest cities in America today. Our city's 10-year decline in crime is a huge achievement, but not for everyone. Easy access to guns has turned some of our neighborhoods into war zones. Mike and Samuel are among the dozens of people who are committed and determined to change that. None of us can afford to stay on the sidelines. They need your support to keep going. The following screen lists some of the community organizations fighting to keep New Yorkers safe. Reach out to them and get involved. I'm Steve Handelman. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
In my neighborhood, all I hear is gunshots. In my neighborhood, all I hear is gunshots. In my neighborhood, all I hear is gunshot. It won't stop on each block. How many mothers got buried their child? Yo, bro, you want this Glock? Nah, that ain't my style. I rather chill back, get money. Why you shooting for? Y'all ain't Curry.
In my neighborhood, all I hear is gunshots. Violence spread like waves from a raindrop. It goes 1 shot, 2 shots, rest stop. No get back. Cause in my neighborhood, we pop like we can't stop. The hood mud like y'all pun head top. That's why I keep on praying and I keep on saying and I keep on singing to the beat like. In my neighborhood, all I hear is gunshots. 1 shot, 2 shots, let's stop. In my neighborhood, all I hear is gunshots. 1 shot, 2 shots, let's stop. In my neighborhood, all I hear is gunshots. 1 shot, 2 shots, let's stop. In my neighborhood, all I hear is gunshots. 1 shot, 2 shots, let's stop.
In my neighborhood, all I hear is gunshots. 1 shot, 2 shots, let's stop. Drugs all over under the ground. Guns, people crying, putting one another down. People every day do crazy things, buying fancy cars and diamond rings. They have nothing to show for themselves. You down on the inside with that bad health. I wonder what the world can do. I have no idea, not even a clue. I look at that paper and I see someone dead. They laying on the stretcher like it was a bed. Can I get a moment of silence? People should think to stop the violence, cause if you don't, you gon' hear them sirens.
In my neighborhood, all I hear is gunshots. 1 shot, 2 shots, let's stop. In my neighborhood, all I hear is gunshots. 1 shot, 2 shots, let's stop. In my neighborhood. ground. Duck and cover, don't make a sound. Baba, let me spell it out. SOS, we'll have the crown. Baba, dive to the ground. Duck and cover, don't make a sound. Baba, let me spell it out. SOS, we'll have the crown.
We grew up in this world thinking everything is right. Change is where we can see the light. We see how this society works, but we also want the perks. The system will try to play us like a game, but society is to blame. Don't underestimate us. We are Crown Heights. We are your SOS. You can't stop us. You can't stop the dream. Yeah, I'm with my team. Whitney, Carl, Shannon, AJ, Andre, and Malik. I look beyond the walls and see the change we need, the change we crave. Without that, we can't be saved. The shots we fear, the shots we hear, always need to be aware. Stop the violence and start to care.
I know you can.